Arise, minions, and welcome to unMadeGaming. We are here. We're back. We're back for our Patreon campaign called The Rise, where, yes, we are down one player, so this is an elaborate scheme to have 3 men and a baby. The horrible Cypher System edition. That being said, if you guys like what we do here and you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is by joining us over on Patreon. Link for that down below. Also, join the conversation, be a part of the community, join us in the Discord. Link for that also down below. And as always, in the bottom right-hand corner, you will see the corruption bar. When that bar fills, I get to do what the hell I want to these players. They deserve it. They're awful. And... Two, every single dollar that goes into that goes back to this channel so we can do cool things like buy art and make podcasts and do dope shit. I think that's it. Over to me, who's the GM. It's weird when I'm the GM because I don't have to toss it to anyone. I just keep talking. And Necro, why do you hate your fellow players? That's what I want to know. Okay. Previously on The Rise. Under continuous assault from an unknown force, Octavia, Seydlitz, and Mina used every ounce of their physical prowess, while Corax attempted to devise the attacker's plan and outmaneuver them. Just as it appeared as though the tides were turning in the favor of the 4 would-be heroes, the very sky itself opened and an unfathomable creature descended. But with quick thinking and the right application of force, this creature too was laid low. The devastation its defeat caused rocked the ancient keep to its foundations, toppling walls and badly injuring the defenders. But this small victory was just enough to provide the time needed for a greater miracle, the birth of a child. But while you guys looked on with hope at this new child, seeing strange hovering sigils over its head and each of your companions that only you seem to see. The day, night, whatever you want to call it, comes to a close in the City of Night. You guys are able to take some respite. And while you do, the rest of us, we see the city of Corso. Flickering lamplight, seedy back alleys, and a constant din of noise, and at its heart looms a tower, high above the city, ever watchful. The tower rises some 3,000 feet above the city, capped by massive metallic wings and a plume of glowing smoke that smears across the ever-night sky, indicating another successful cleansing by the Reconciliators. Atop the tower, in an open-air chamber, stands a woman, wearing fine, cream-colored silks, boots of oiled white leather, and a tiger hide coat. The rumble, low growls of no less than a dozen tigers surround her. Atop her head sits a magnificent hat, slightly askew, and her eyes are swirling nexuses of sorcerous power. As she looms over the city, she calls back over her shoulder. Low City, Caladar Keep, now. Several sets of booted footprints walk off and begin to descend down this massive tower, heading to where you can only assume is Caladar Keep in Low City. But that was then. And this is now. You all wake up inside the ruined keep, where you have the survivors of the onslaught, a young woman, a weird old guy, and a brand new baby. What are the 3 of you doing?
Mina would have been, he would have got a quick rest, but he would have been up on some sort of watch, making sure that whatever nefarious parts of Low Town aren't creeping in and taking advantage of them.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, you've been able to find that most people have stayed away. Caladar Keep exploded a few hours ago. No one really knows why. No one knows what that was about, but the keep is in mostly ruins. So most people have kept away. It wasn't really a hangout spot to begin with. So it exploding randomly just further decided to keep away. You know. But you've kept watch on and off, and you've seen the dust kind of settle. A few people have poked around to just see like what the hell happened, maybe. But no one's dared to enter, perhaps because of the massive keep. Every once in a while, a few rocks clatter to the side, and they're afraid that it may collapse in on them. And no one wants to be caught under rubble. So the night has gone as peacefully as a night in Corso could possibly go so far. What about the rest of you?
Korax would be sitting probably within the main chamber, on the far end from the I'd say happy child who's not screaming at all.
Yeah.
And trying not to stay sort of next to them. But he would be going over the books that he has on him. He has his older book that he's had with him for a while, and he's going to be double checking anything within there that matches up with what's going on. And once he's satisfied that things are as they should be, he will start having a read through the new books that he has acquired recently.
Yeah, you know what? Let's have you have the first roll of the day. I need you. Let's see here. Korax. Let me open up a few of these character sheets just in case here. Korax, what can I have you roll? It's going to be an intelligence-based check. Roll me something. This is going to be intelligence for sure, based around the gods, your books, research. Do you have anything like that?
Knowledge of godly beings.
Knowledge of godly beings. I could take that. Yeah. So roll me knowledge of godly beings. DC is going to be DC 3.
Perfect. So no bonus. DC 3. No effort yet. And success.
Success. Okay. So you've been poring over your books back and forth. Now, you noticed when you saw the baby bundled up, bundle of joy, you saw that small sigil glowing above its head. No one else seemed to react to it, except for you, and strangely enough, your other 3 allies, who, as you turned to them, all seem to have a similar, but different, glowing symbol above their heads. You know this as some kind of mark of divine. Perhaps it is the proximity. Perhaps it is what you just fought. Perhaps it is the lingering magic of the day. You're not entirely sure. But as you move between rest, sleep, books, research, you've pored over your tomes at great length. The sigil above the child's head has since faded. And as you look at your allies, theirs too has faded. Although, if you concentrate hard, you can still see the child's. And as you kind of pore over your tomes, trying to maybe unlock whatever secret this has, you notice something. In a book that you keep with you, usually secreted away, a book of few words. And if you hadn't been so familiar with said book, you might miss it entirely. The prophecy of salvation. For whatever reason, is slightly darker than all the other prophecies in this book that you shouldn't have. As if recently repenned. Same words, but recently repenned.
I think he would have spent a lot of time double checking and triple checking and going over his memory of what those words were, and just the fact that they're the same, but it's rewritten, would haunt him for most of the night, probably keeping him awake rather than letting him get the rest he was hoping to have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. While you pore over this tome, hoping to figure it out, find the secrets, Seydlitz, what are you doing?
Seydlitz is going around the ruins for over the last battle, trying to recover arrows, possible salvage equipment, find anything useful.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, over the course of the time, collectively, you've been able to pull in the remains of the fallen hired help, and sort out their possessions. I believe it is only you guys that are left standing. You, Stephanie, the child, obviously, and the weird old guy who I can't remember his name right now. I just wrote a crazed old man. What the fuck was his name? Oh man. But yeah, you are all there. You're able to sort of sort out where the bodies were, pull them out of rubble, adjust, recover what few unsnapped arrows. Dreshen, that's his name. What few unsnapped arrows remain outside the rubble, and recover that. There's not much on these guys' corpses. You may find like a sword, a dagger, that kind of thing. But nothing very useful. A lot of them were crushed under rubble. After you have done your rounds and checked the perimeter, what else are you, Seydlitz, and Mina doing?
Mina would probably see Seydlitz going through the bodies and saying to him, I really think we need to get out of here. Sticking around, not the best idea.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think staying around, we have to have a cause of attention because, well, the place went boom. So
yeah, we need to get back in and let Drescher know that we've got to get that baby moving.
I'll do it. You keep watch.
Sweet.
Your mic's muted, Mike.
It sure is. I was making fun of Snow for saying sweet in character. So, Seydlitz, you head back through the rubble into the ruined hall that leads to what essentially looks like a throne room, a judge's pulpit. And you obviously see Korax surrounded by books. You see Stephanie is, coddling a child, and Dreschen is in what you can only describe as the most uncomfortable sleep. He is curled up in a corner, and every few minutes you see him shoot up and look around, and then slowly just kind of pass back out, as if paranoid of a new attack at any moment. What do you do as you kind of walk over there?
I'm gonna walk up to him and shake him awake. Hey,
oh
Drescher.
Yes.
You okay here, buddy? You look like you've been run through the ringer.
He looks at you and then looks at the destruction. It's been a tough time.
Yes, it has, but unfortunately, it's probably going to get tougher. We got to go.
Right this second.
It's maybe not this second. Gather your things, but let's be honest. This place is probably not safe.
No, you're right. The destruction would have alerted somebody, and the fear of collapse will only keep them away for so long. Do you have a destination?
I'll probably have to talk to the other two. We haven't figured that out ourselves yet.
Okay, I will. Yeah. I'll gather my things. And you see him like sort of like lean on the wall and step up, and like he goes to like pat himself down and realizes that everything that is on him is all of his things. And takes a step forward. I will. I'll gather up Stephanie. You talk to your friends, and he moves towards Stephanie and the child.
All right. Hey, Corax. Corax, get your head out of that book there.
After a short while, he looks up. Huh?
God, you remind me of my niece. She's an avid reader too. We gotta, I would say, pack up all this stuff and take what you want, because I don't think we should stay here much longer.
I'm in agreement. But
Oh, then the question is, where do we go?
out of the city is probably the best call.
It is, but where?
My family's home. It's a long way away, but some people in the village may accept the child if it is divine. Others will not.
Yeah, I was thinking about maybe head northeast to Samara, but then I'm thinking like that probably wouldn't be a best idea. Going to a city someplace everybody knows is not really wise, especially not in the roads.
As you say that, Stephanie turns to you. Excuse me. I actually have family in Samora.
You do?
Yes.
Interesting. How have we not met?
I live here.
Oh. Okay, makes sense.
Okay. She looks back to you and says, we could head there.
Will it be safe? Do you trust them?
It would be safer than here.
I mean, the bottom of the well is safer than here, but that doesn't
No, it's
necessarily
not.
mean it's safe.
Samora is safer than Corso.
Fair.
I could definitely attest to that one. Sometimes that place gets a bit crazy.
I don't know that anywhere would be safe.
How are your family with the divine, or the thoughts of the divine?
As far as I know, they would take us in. I don't have any reason to think they wouldn't.
And not turn you in?
I don't think so. They never really seemed like the type.
May I
Yes.
interject? Corax, what do you mean by the divine? Been hearing these words a lot lately. I'm just wondering what it means.
The fact that, I mean, we had them, maybe things have changed, but every one of us, including that child, had a nimbus above our heads after the massive explosion that Mina caused.
Blame it on him.
Wait, you see those too? I thought I was going crazy.
I mean, I haven't seen them on anyone for a while, but they were there. It may have just been a spark, but if the child is divine, a lot of places are not going to be safe. and there's going to be high rewards potentially for turning it in, which is why, and he'd look back to Stephanie, your family needs to be safe. If they're going to do anything for money, or you need to keep everything that's happened here completely silent. It never happened.
I mean, I can do that. That was honestly, that was my plan to begin with, but
the child's going to need a, not necessarily just a safe upbringing, but a good one. If it is swayed towards darkness, who knows what could happen.
I don't intend to abandon the child. I intend to raise it the best I can.
To be fair, it's the best option we've got.
I am open to suggestions. I was just offering.
Unless Mina's got a better idea, I think it makes sense. And Korax will start packing up the majority of his books back into his cloak.
Okay. You see that Dreschen is doing the same. He seems to be packing up what few supplies that Stephanie has. And he looks to the two of you, Korax and Seydlitz, and he says, we need supplies if we're heading to it's several days journey. We would need. I'll get supplies. And you see him start to head towards the exit of this ruined building.
How long do we wait for you?
I should be back within the hour. I can't imagine it would be that difficult.
If you're not back by the time the sun should be at the top of the sky, do we just leave you?
He looks up at the gaping hole in the ceiling, and you can see a look of confusion at first, and then he looks back down to you. That time isn't. That's not a. There's no sun here.
I'm aware it's very depressing, but at some point, at what point do we assume you're dead?
Why would I be dead?
You're walking out of here, and there were loads of people and exploding things.
We're all
coming
gonna
here.
We're all gonna walk out of here.
Oh, we're definitely walking out of here. But if you're going off by yourself into the city, it's Corso. You could die on the street.
I think I was walking around the city long before this happened.
That's true.
I think I should be fine.
Let's hope.
Let's. And he turns back to walk towards the door again.
Korax turns back to Seydlitz and the others. So 3 hours we leave, right?
I was
He's
thinking
not back.
2.
All right.
As you haggle over how to abandon Dreschen, he exits the keep and sees Mina on his perch. He says, "We're headed to Samara. I'm going to get us supplies. We need supplies. It's a long journey."
Yeah. Are we just going ourselves? By ourselves?
Myself, you, your two friends, or your three friends, sorry, and Stephanie and the child.
Okay. I mean, I was thinking that we could maybe find a caravan that was heading out of the city. That makes us a bit safer. But I mean, if the other two think it's a good idea to go off on their own, sure. Do you need someone to go with you?
I think I'll be okay. I'm just going to get some quick supplies and come back. If you want to pitch that idea by them, by all means. They seem to decide that we're going to Samara. Stephanie has family there.
Okay. Well, I'll go talk to them then, I guess. Be safe.
Thank you.
Scream out in pain if you're in danger.
I will. And slightly more reassured than his conversation with Korax, he heads out, and you see him start to scramble up the rubble, what was the part of the wall, and into the darkness of the city. Mina, you kind of enter these chambers as Stephanie has like a backpack kind of slung over her as she's holding the baby, and you see Korax with his bundles of books. And Seydlitz with his bundles of weapons. Scene is yours.
Throughout the night, I think Mina would have had excess material and sewing equipment in his gear. He would have fashioned a sort of baby harness of some kind.
Okay.
He'd take that over to Stephanie and offer her that to help her carry the baby.
Yeah. So she kind of like loops in like a reverse backpack and sort of slides the child in so she has access to her arms.
Yeah, a bit of a baby Bjorn.
Yeah.
Medieval style.
Yep. Yeah, I like it. A little baby holster.
Yep, and he'll head over to Korax and Seydlitz and say, are we really thinking of heading out on our own to Samora?
Well, I think we've decided we're going to Samara, but on our own, I don't like our chances.
Yep.
Korax just shrugs and says, on my own, I'd be fine. There's quite a few of us, you know.
Well, yeah, on my own, I'd be fine too, but it's not how I got here.
Yeah, I mean, I had a thought if we could find out if there are any caravans going, anywhere, maybe Samora, but anywhere else either as well. We could head off with them. We present less of an obvious target.
Sound thinking. Going off with a trade caravan, more people, volunteer as guards.
Yeah, I've still got gear back at the Carrick where I was staying, and that's kind of a hub for trade caravans. We could head back there and see if anything's heading out of the city today and tag along.
I don't think I'm going to pass for a god. Look at me. And he pulls open his cloak and he's skinny. He is skinny. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to make it as a god.
You might not, but I bet me and here will.
Yeah,
it's just good negotiation. We we'll defend your caravan if you let us all go with you.
Yeah, we could maybe say that you're Seydlitz's squire.
We can say that. I don't carry things.
As long as you polish his weapon and stuff like that.
I don't need a squire.
It couldn't hurt for you to teach him some of the martial arts along the way. It'll feed into the story and help him defend himself in a fight.
Do you know how to use a weapon, Korax?
No, I don't need to use a weapon. I run away. If you don't get caught, you don't have to fight.
Out of character, Mike, I have some of those daggers that I salvaged.
Yeah, you can handle one.
I'm gonna pull out a dagger and hand it to him. Well, for today, even if you don't even know how to use it, just fake it. And I hand Korax a dagger.
Korax takes it and just holds it really awkwardly. Okay.
Oh gosh, you're gonna need a lot of work.
Hopefully they just run into it.
With any luck. I mean, I can use it to cut apples, and he pushes it into like a random slot inside of his cape.
You hear the sound of a knife into an apple. So while you wait for Dreschen to return, what do the three of you do? Are there anything you're trying to prepare, get ready for?
I have a couple of questions for you, Mike.
Yes, I have answers, I hope.
Hopefully. Did any of the people who were on our side, technically friendlies, did any of them die during the combat?
Yeah, all of them, I think.
All of them. And is burial normal in Corso?
It can be as normal as selling corpses, or in some cases, food stocks.
So not so normal.
Yeah, so I mean, like, whatever you do with the body, it's kind of like, especially in Low City, no one's gonna care. So if you wanted to bury it, great. If you want to eat it, that's fine too. No one is gonna stop you or really give a shit unless you try to go inside an establishment and eat it. They're probably gonna kick you out. So if you'd like to bury them, you can. I will tell you, the bad guys are all under rubble. You have managed to pull the dead out and into a section of the ruined keep that you're in, away from everybody, so that no one gets sick or anything like that. So they are inside this keep with I think some manner of sheet over them.
Korax would spend his time then and basically encourage anyone who's willing to help in the area to basically bury the fallen, and leave sort of effectively a pile of stones to point out where where they were buried.
Yeah, like a little cairn
memorial.
Okay. Yeah. So you're leading this burial. Is it just digging a hole, putting people in, mark with stones? Simple.
Pretty much.
Okay.
He would go through any sort of rituals as such. I say rituals lightly, that his family would have normally gone through back home, being slightly more religious than the average folk.
Okay. Yeah. Roll me an intelligence difficulty 4, based on what you're doing here, to recall rituals and perform them in a capacity in which you have not yet performed.
Right.
I think your knowledge of godly beings might come into play here.
All right, so I'll roll that then. Difficulty 4. And that is a failure.
Okay. So you perform, essentially burial rites, right? Funerary customs to the best of your ability. Having never led this kind of procession before, there's a few stumbling points. However, these are colloquial to your village, at least as far as you know, and neither Seydlitz nor Mina know any better of your shortcomings. These men and women are successfully buried, marked with cairns, and the time that it takes to do so, probably as you are as you are eulogizing, you hear a scramble of rocks on the other side of the wall, and a head pops up, and it is in fact Dreschen. Just the head, though. It's on a stick. No, Dreschen is there. He is alive. He made it safely. And he appears and kind of clambers down the rock wall. I have supplies. Are we ready?
Yeah. As ready as we can be.
What is the plan?
I don't know.
Head to the Carrick, see if there's any caravans heading out of the city, and join along. Sell sell our services as guards to tag along, strength in numbers.
Will they allow the woman and child as they? We couldn't sell them as guards. I don't think it would pass.
We can just say that as part of our, if we don't take any payment, I'm sure we can negotiate their passage as well.
Okay. It sounds as good a plan as any. And you see that he is now carrying a pack of what you can only assume to be supplies. So you guys lead through the winding streets of Corso back towards the dock area where you visit the Karak. Much the same as it was the day prior, which is to say, a little rough and tumble, little smelling of fish, but otherwise, it's pretty okay. You see that the bartender, known as the captain, is still manning the helm, as it were. No more or less evidence of his fishy nature. And he is, he sees the four of you kind of enter, and then Dreschen behind you, and he kind of like, you can see he's staring you down, because Dreschen did cause a scene the day before, screaming about, or not screaming, but shouting about redeemers of the Afterworld, and divine blah blah blah. And the captain did threaten to call the reconciliators if he didn't leave. So he is a little shocked to see all of you return, especially with Dreschen, and kind of eyes you rather coldly. But you all kind of enter quietly and not causing a scene, so he doesn't directly engage with any of you. There's just definitely a solid stink eye the whole time. What are you guys doing?
Mina will probably point out a booth to Dreschen and Stephanie and kind of indicate for them to kind of make themselves less obvious, and look around to see if there's any sort of guards, people, or mercenaries that he's familiar with in his adventures, to see if anyone's heading out today.
There is. There's a caravan. It's heading to Old Nemra.
That's from the captain, is it, or from
the captain? Yeah.
Yeah. I'll thank him. Put a coin down, and head over to where he indicates, and make myself known to whoever looks like they're in authority.
Yeah, so you actually traveled here via caravan the first time you came in, right? Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you've kind of done this before. You know how to kind of negotiate your way through a caravan. I'm pretty sure you were a guard on your way in. And you see a large like covered wagon almost. It has very high sides and just a flat like canvas tarpaulin kind of top there. And you see there's several people milling about. You can tell they're likely caravan guards. There's 4 of them. And you see a small, probably like 4'8", like kind of hunched, very wrinkly, older man. He has a 3-point beard, and only hair on the side of his head, and an eye patch, because why wouldn't he? And he sits atop the bench seat? I don't know what you'd call that. The part where you control the beast of burden. The driver's seat. He sits in the caravan driver's seat. And there is no animal, in fact, hooked up to this. But he kind of sits there, and you can see that he is going over a checklist of sorts. You can tell that he is not a guard. Likely he is either the owner or the person in charge of the move, or definitely not a trader. He doesn't look fancy enough to be the actual tradesman.
Mina will go over and go, morning, boss. Need any extra hands on this caravan?
What kind of hands you're offering?
A bit of protection, bit of guard work in exchange for accompanying you with a couple of passengers.
How many passengers?
2 passengers, just a woman and a child.
And how many guards you're offering?
4.
4 guards. 4 guards.
Well,
2
one's half a
passengers.
guard, maybe 3.5. One's a squire
3.5.
learning the trade.
He's got 2 hands though.
Last time I checked,
Okay. Is he?
he was given a knife recently. It
Is a
could
knife?
have changed by now.
A small knife, like a.
Yeah.
Okay. So 3 guards, 3 passengers. And where are you going?
Well, we're hoping to eventually head to Samora, but for the moment we're just keen to get on the road.
Yeah. And you know that we're going to Old Nemera, right?
Yes, but you're the only caravan heading out today, and we're keen to get out of town.
You say you're keen to get out of town. Is that because you're running from the law?
No, there's no law involved. We're just, a bit overcautious, so, wears you down a bit. Bit of fresh air on the road.
Yeah, no, I get it. And, you sure? Because if you get caught on my caravan, I'll turn you over.
Look, last time I checked, there was no one looking for us. You could probably check with the local constabulary.
And
find
just
out.
so we're clear, when was the last time that you checked?
Well, the last time I checked was just yesterday evening, but all I've been doing since then is sleeping. So unless that's against the law, I'm clean.
I just want to point out here, there's a small fact that you're missing, is that normally people who aren't running from the law don't check to see if, in fact, the law is after them. So your story is a little suspicious to me.
I mean, it's Corso, and I more check whether the law's after me for the fact that maybe someone's taken out a contract to do something nasty to me. They'll pop up when you speak to the law normally.
Yeah. No, it is in fact Corso. You're not wrong. Mina, because you are the one of the worst people that we could have chose to do this, I need you to roll me an intelligence, difficulty 4, and your inability for social interactions plays into this. So you will take a -1 to that, or a minus. It'll actually be a yeah. So roll your social interactions, difficulty 4. Yeah. Okay. So all right. Well, here's what the situation's gonna be. If you and your friends you wanna run from you wanna leave Corso very quickly in a manner that is befitting someone who might be a criminal. What I would like from you is I would like 20 stars. And also, you'll be a god. And your friends will be gods. And you're also in charge of your own food and your own safety and your life. And we bear no liability if you or your friends die and or are captured.
So to me, it sounds like you're expecting us to pay you 20 stars for you to turn us in at the next opportunity.
No. The 20 stars is to guarantee that you don't get turned in by me or those 4. However, if gods do happen to come directly to us and the caravan, I won't stop them from arresting you. I just also won't aid them in arresting you.
Okay. I'm going to need to check with my colleagues, but I'm going to hesitate a guess to say that the price might be a bit too steep for us. Is there any
Too
movement we
steep?
can do on that?
Oh, what do you have to offer? This is the Trade Caravan, so trading is kind of literally in the name.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely we have one of our group is a renowned hunter.
Uh-huh.
He can provide fresh food along the way.
Uh-huh.
And I myself am quite a good tailor, so I can offer any tailoring services.
Okay.
That he looks over at the other 4 guards that he's already got and says they definitely look like they could use a bit of a spruce up, maybe.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And
Okay.
any other contacts we have to offer you to offload your trade goods.
Okay. What if I knock it down to about 10 stars?
10 stars. I'll speak to my colleagues and I'm sure that will sound reasonable to them.
We leave in 2 hours.
Perfect.
With or without you, just so
All right,
we're clear.
no problem. I'll speak to my colleagues, and if we're here, we'll pay you the money. If we're not, one less headache for you.
Great. Good luck not getting captured. You seem like a swell guy.
Cheers.
Fucking kids. And he goes back to his his chart.
Mina will head back to Korax and Seydlitz and says, he's happy to take us along. We need to pay for the fares of 3 of us. So I managed to negotiate him down from 50 stars to 10. So if we've got 10 stars, we can go with them. Otherwise, it's us on our own.
I don't have 10 stars.
I may have
Do you?
surplus weapons that'll be salvaged, but I don't got 10 stars.
Well, it's either that or we head out on our own. I don't know if I particularly trusted him to turn him in, but I also feel like if we don't pay him now, he might turn us in anyway. No.
For what it's worth, I also don't have any stars. I spent everything on the other guards for the castle.
Should have looted their money.
So yeah, I guess unless we can come up with the money, we're on our own.
How
What are the other
busy?
Go ahead.
How busy is the bar?
I mean, it's an average amount. It's not like every table's full, but I would say it's probably about half capacity. And there's a solid turnover. This is definitely like this isn't like a hanging out bar usually. This is like a stopover kind of place. Or at best an inn occasionally. But the amount of people that there's a pretty solid exchange of people going in and people coming out. So it's fairly packed.
Is it the type of place that would have regulars, or would it be just literally passing trade, near enough every day, different people?
The regulars are like more of the local trade, and you can tell that some of like the long distance traders, like the guy that Mina was probably just talking to, would stop here every time. But they're like, think of them like big rig truckers, where like they got to be on the road for like 4 weeks, but they always come back to their favorite diner, kind of thing. So there are regulars. The majority of the regulars seem like traders. The stopover people seem like just people passing through, like on their next, welcome to Corso. Got to keep going.
Korax would stand up from the table, pull his hood up to cover as much of his face and hair as he can, and start walking through the crowd, and looking for someone that he could remove some money from their pockets. without them knowing.
Mhm.
That is his hope.
Interesting that you would steal, you tiny criminal.
He has done it before. That's how he has survived in Corso.
That's true. You are the thief. Let's see here. How would you identify somebody? Yeah, so you know what? I will say this. It's crowded enough that you can easily identify someone. And you kind of pick your target and you slink through the crowd, new dagger in hand, incredibly useful for cutting the purse strings at a belt loop. And you isolate a target. What I would like you to do is roll me a speed check.
Speed.
Difficulty is going to be 4. And you let me know if you have any abilities that might help you.
I have nothing that would help me.
Okay, you can
but
spend speed.
I am going to. This is difficulty 4, and I'm going to apply some effort to that.
Okay, so you can reduce your speed pool by 3. Your current speed by 3. And then
here we go.
Oh, that's the worst you can roll.
I know.
That's a 1.
I got XP though.
You can spend your XP. You have 1 of them left.
Yeah. I'm gonna spend my XP.
All right, go ahead and re-roll that. That was a bad roll.
That was as bad as it could be.
That was the worst.
And for what I was doing, that I did not want that. That
was 100% a bar fight that almost just happened right there. I didn't even need to think about that.
The effort needs to be reapplied, and I can't reapply that, can I?
You can reapply it. You have to spend 3 more points.
3 more points. Okay. Nope. Still failing.
Okay. So
at least it's not a nat 1.
Yeah, it's not a nat 1. It's not a guaranteed bar fight. So what happens is you've slinking through the crowds. You're small enough to kind of get by. It's not crowded enough that you're completely obscured. So you kind of have to pick your time and just sort of wait till someone turns and kind of catch them. And whatever it is, maybe it's a run of bad luck, but every time you go to like reach for a purse to cut, they move and you're not able to grab a hold of this. Or you have it in your hand just resting there and you're about to cut the strings and they move in a way that would have made some kind of noise, so you kind of like let go. For whatever reason it is, you cannot find purchase in your thiefcraft here. So after a few minutes you kind of slink back, knife back in your apple, with nothing to show for your efforts.
Sorry, I tried. I couldn't drum up any cash. No one was willing to share.
That's a fucking way to look at it.
Well, I guess we can scratch the caravan idea off the list, because I don't have that kind of cash. So if we're going to get going, we might want to head off before the caravan guard mentions us to anyone in retribution. So they said they're leaving in 2 hours. I suggest we go in less than that.
Okay. Everyone roll me an intelligence check, difficulty 2. Correct, Seydlitz, Mina. Okay. Seydlitz, what has you so distracted?
Just watching the bar, secretly hoping something would happen. Maybe a bar fight. Just kind of bored.
Okay. So you're kind of zoned out in the bar, sort of doing your own thing. Perhaps before you heard the cost, perhaps you spent one of your was it a moon? You spent one of your moons on an ale, and you're kind of sipping that, or a penny on a cheap swill ale. However, Mina and Korax, you hear from across the room, two other caravan guards. You can tell they're kind of brutish. One has a tattoo sleeve, and the other one has several scars. You hear them talking, and you overhear a few clips of their conversation. And what you make out is that apparently a squad of reconciliators has moved into Low City and are searching for a group of people, is all that you were able to pull out of that.
Mina will look at Korax and say, I think we need to make ourselves scarce. It may have been a bad call to come here. I think we just need to get on the road and get going.
Korax glances up to the barman. Well, someone turned us in here before, so we need to go now.
Yep. Going along with one of my plans probably wasn't a smart move on anyone's part. So let's just leave and go with your plan.
Korax looks to Dresden. If you hadn't made such a ruckus here the last time, it would have been fine.
If
And
you
he
had
gets
come
up.
with me the first time I asked,
You're a crazy man.
I was right.
Didn't mean you didn't sound crazy.
Well,
I mean, we could stay here and cause another scene, or we can get going.
Korax is up, his hood's up, pulled tight around his face, wrapping
as
himself in his cloak.
you say those words, Mina, as if the fates and or your own teammates have conspired against you, a little dash of corruption. You say, we could cause another scene, or we could get going. And as you all stand and rotate towards the door, you see two fully clad in armor reconciliators. Clank, clank, clang. Heavy boot falls as they enter in. The first one takes a few steps forward. The second one sort of flanks to his left. And you see they are scanning the crowd, as if sort of just getting a feel for the room. And a dull hush sort of falls over the Carrick. Everyone's kind of side-eyeing and murmuring about the two reconciliators that have just showed up, but no one is directly addressing the situation. What do you do, the three of you?
Mina will distance himself from the others, but in a way that kind of puts himself between the reconciliators and the child.
Okay. Now, a question for all of you. Have any of you seen or had a run-in with reconciliators before?
Mina's seen them from a distance,
Mhm.
but he's always avoided them.
Seydlitz, never seen them.
Okay.
How low level of crime do they deal with?
It depends.
They're not going to
Depends.
deal with petty theft under normal circumstances.
Under normal circumstances. However, if someone were to say, have been in the city of Corso and been in, I don't know, like the trade district and possibly stolen a book, especially a book that they don't know whom they stole it from or of whom has high connections, they might be interested in a case such as that, I could say. I don't know that fits anyone's specific description, but that is,
Korax would not have done anything like that after the last 24 hours. So that's fine. So then he wouldn't have had a direct run-in with them as of yet.
Okay. So you all know that the Reconciliators, they are, on paper, a force for good. They are a police defense force kind of thing. They help the downtrodden. They promote hope. And the biggest problem is that you know that they are directly paid by Nalumriel, who is the Night Queen of this city, who is less than good. She is what this world calls a dragon, someone of immeasurable magical prowess. And, a low rumble around everywhere in the city says that if they were really a force for good, maybe they would kick all of the slavers out of the city. Maybe the indulgences where you could pay to commit crimes, maybe that wouldn't be allowed. But here we are. This is Corso, and you are realists. You see before you these two large men, 6 foot each, wearing cream-colored armor from head to toe. Their armor has these 2 wings that sort of go up, and flowing from the back of their shoulder pauldrons is a massive, red cape. A similar one, sort of, almost like a loincloth, stands between their thighs on the front and back, and barely cover a large, curved, ivory-white kopesh, or kopesh. I don't know how to say that word. The Egyptian curved sickle blade kind of thing. They are still in their sheaths, but they stand there in this armor in stark contrast to the dark city around them, and they begin looking around. The one in the front leans over. You see him turn to his companion on the left, and he says something, although you can't hear what it is. And the one on the left begins to flank towards the left of the building. You can see that he appears to be headed towards the bar back door, the one that would lead towards the kitchens. What are you guys doing?
Korax has his hood up when he stood up. He's going to 90 degrees turn from the rest of the group and find a table that is either empty or has a spare seat, and he's going to sit with his back towards the Reconciliators and stare at the barman from under his hood, trying to keep his hair and his face completely in.
Yeah.
As best he can.
Okay. Mina, you also separated yourself. Seydlitz, you've never seen one before. You've heard stories. You seem like a tough guy. You thought, perhaps before, I could take one of these. However, standing in front of you, maybe. What are you doing? You see Korax kind of hood up, kind of tugs on his hood, slink away to another seat. You see Mina also kind of eyes to the ground, takes a few steps away. What are you doing?
Casually leaning at the end of the bar, holding that ale, just kind of just drinking and just watching them, side-eyeing them, just trying to act natural.
Okay. So you play it cool at the edge of the bar. You being the closest one to the bar, you see the reconciliator that's flanked to the left. He begins to proceed towards the bar, around the bar, and directly up to the captain. And you, being the closest, can hear them say, "You had made a call that there was some kind of a disturbance here the other day. An crazed patron of yours, you mentioned, screaming about the divine. Have you seen this man again? Could you provide any more details of him and his would-be companions?" You see the captain, quick eye shot glance towards Seydlitz. another kind of head turn towards the center of the room where you were all sitting moments ago. And the captain turns back to the guard and says, it was a crazed old man. He came in here. He barreled through the door and he accosted several of my patrons here. I don't know the man. He never came back before, but he came in here screaming about redeemers or reclaimers of the Afterworld, or something about a divine event occurring here in the city. And I kicked him out very quickly. And it's none of that kind of talk here in the Carrick. We don't want any kind of disturbances, nothing like that here at all. It's not our kind of place to be besmirching the divine Night Queen has set before us. None of that kind of thing. You see a few more quick glances around the room. He is clearly nervous. The reconciliator stands there, nods, and he looks back to his companion at the door and nods again. The companion at the door turns to the room and he says, "All right, everyone, hands on the tables. No one leaves, no one moves. This is a lawful shakedown. That's what it is." And you see a low murmur happen, and then you see all of the patrons put their hands on the table and sort of just stop. The din in the room goes quiet. You know enough, the three of you, that shakedowns aren't great. And if you are shaken down and you meet whatever description they might have, especially one with shock red hair, perhaps, you know that they're going to take you. Where? You're not sure. Pretty sure it can't be good, though. What do you do, the three of you?
Seydlitz is going to look around, and he's going to look at the people immediately near him. Can he identify which one of them is the drunkest?
Ooh.
I'm
Yeah,
specifically
roll
looking
me-
for a drunkard.
Roll me intelligence. Everyone is it's that level of like scared sober. So roll me an intelligence difficulty 4, I will say.
Not going through. There it is.
Ooh. There we go. Okay. That is a natural
Yes.
20. Not only can you identify that, you get to have a major effect. What kind of effect would you look to have on this situation?
Right, this dude seems nervous to me and maybe a bit on edge.
Mm-hmm.
Say someone got shoved into him, he may react violently.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you notice this guy, and what I'll say is, with the utmost stealth, you're able to kind of like turn, put your hands on the bar stool, on the bar of the bar, and while doing so, you're able to like just knock your elbow just slightly to the right, and it's just enough to slide that flagon of ale down the corner of the bar, hit the edge, and tip into this drunkard's pants. To which he immediately stands up. Hey! Oh, what is this? And he like jumps, and you see the reconciliator behind the bar immediately like draw a sword, and it like turn on this person and take a step towards advancing. You see him throw his hands up. No, you're not gonna get me! And he runs towards the door. You see that the other people are like dodging out of the way to like get. There's not like a fight happening, but he definitely dodges out of the way. Like people are like moving off the tables to the floors, standing up, knocking over chairs, as they are moving out of the way for this crazed person to try to escape the reconciliators. There is a kerfuffle, a distraction, if you will. What do the rest of you do?
Mina will, as discreetly as possible, get in front of the booth that Dreschen and Stephanie are at, and grab the edges of the table, ready to lift it up and throw it if he has to.
Okay. So you move into a defensive stance, protecting the child and its companions. Korax, what are you doing? Hood still pulled tight to your head. You are, as far as you can tell, still hidden from the events unfolding.
The reconciliator by the bar, is he pursuing?
He is pursuing.
Korax is going to then get up, move to the opposite direction from the main door, around the bar towards the back door.
Okay.
To basically come around behind him.
To come behind the reconciliator or to come like into the kitchens of the bar?
Towards that door, but behind the reconciliator. So he doesn't want to get in between them.
Yeah.
He wants to stay out of sight behind him, heading towards the kitchen door.
Gotcha. Okay, so to clarify, the guy who stood up is headed towards the front door. He's running towards the other reconciliator. There is a back door, at least as far as you can tell. So you're just positioning yourself behind that reconciliator so that he's not focused on you.
Correct.
Okay, so the rest of you guys see, because you saw him slink off, you see Korax kind of move behind the reconciliators. You see the one that was at the bar charging down this person. The guy dodges past the first reconciliator at the door. The second reconciliator charges past his ally and into the streets, leaving only one reconciliator remaining here as the people begin to like right their chairs. There's a murmur going around. Everyone's kind of confused, and the one reconciliator that's still there looks at everyone and says, "Right, as I said," and everyone starts to kind of like get back to where they were going. It's a slow shuffle, and as you look around, you see that the captain is no longer behind the bar. There's still movement happening in the bar, and one less reconciliator.
Is there a door behind the bar?
There is a door. As far as you know, it leads to the kitchens. You don't know beyond that.
I'm in confusion. I'm going to hop the bar and go through and get out and go through the kitchen door.
So you guys see, you see Seydlitz, who was sitting at the bar where the fight broke out mysteriously. You see him like plant his hands on it and vault over the bar and head towards the back door. Or head towards the kitchen doors.
Korax looks to the others and sort of, as carefully as he can, indicates that he's heading to that door as well. And he is going to go straight through it without stopping.
Okay. Mina?
I think Mina's going to have seen that they're heading for the back door, but he needs to find a way to get Stephanie and Dreschen and the baby there. So he is going to pick up the table, throw it across the front of the other reconciler, and hit someone and scream out, "He's a bibliomancer. Careful, he's casting a spell."
Let me clarify. You threw the table at?
No, across in front of him towards another table.
Okay. You threw it at him. Okay.
I mean, Mina's not smart, but he's not that dumb.
I had to ask. Okay, I had to ask. You say he's okay. Roll me. Man, roll me. It's got to be. Okay, I will give you a choice here. You can roll me an intelligence-based thing to be convincing of the fact there's a bibliomancer, or you can roll me a might-based challenge to just cause maximum destruction with the table you just threw across the wall.
I'm going to use my creative, creating a narrative that I'm trained in.
Okay.
So that's intelligence based.
Yeah, okay. So roll me intelligence, difficulty. Ooh, man, you're trying to convince a reconciliator to not stab you. Let me see here. Difficulty. Difficulty. Man, is this a full night? Difficulty 7.
I'm going to apply some effort.
Mm-hmm.
No.
No. Okay. So, I mean, it wasn't a, it wasn't a 1. So, we win there. Okay. So you smash this table across the bar. You throw this whole table, kind of exposing, Dreschen, Stephanie, and the child. However, they're not the point of contention right now. You just threw a fucking table. On the bright side, what you did was you eliminated the role for both Seydlitz and Korax to have to do a speed check to run away, because you threw a fucking table. So he immediately draws his sword and like locks eyes with you. You can tell, I will give you this much, because you're good at puzzles and learning, and you learned a valuable lesson right now. He is locked eyes with you, and you know that if Stephanie and Dreschen were to slink away from behind you, he would not care to pursue them, because you threw a table. So you're free to like motion them to go away.
Yeah.
If you so choose.
Yeah. Under his breath, he goes, "Back door now."
You see them kind of slink as this 6-foot cream armored knight advances towards you with his hooked blade. He's advancing towards you through a small crowd, although they are moving quickly out of the way. That being said, I will give you the first action on what the hell you want to try to do right now.
If there's a window, I'm going to defenestrate myself.
Okay. Okay. Roll. It's going to be a speed. Let me see here. Yeah, roll me a speed. Difficulty 7.
Apply effort.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Okay. You vault over whatever's around, people, chairs, you're throwing things out of the way, and you just dive for the window. I need you to make me a might defense roll. 7. Difficulty 7. You can apply might to those as well, or effort to those as well. Okay, so you vault towards the window, and you dive headfirst. You clatter through the wooden slatted blinds that are there. You clatter right through the whole thing. You dive, you kind of roll, and as soon as you like arch over the window, you feel racked with some kind of pain. You don't feel like you were struck by anything. You've felt a damaging blow before. You are racked by sudden pain, and your whole body kind of convulses as if you were just hit by like some sort of electrical charge that sort of tenses all your muscles. And you collapse to the ground for a second. You take 5 points of intellect damage, ignoring any armor that you may have.
Intellect is not my strength.
Yep. So you take that that damage, and you feel like, man, how do I describe that? The sensation you felt at watching the birth of this child, you feel as if that was just pulled away from you. So whatever elation you had is now removed. It's like, imagine being a child and I handed you an ice cream cone and you were like, yes, and then I slapped it out of your hand. You're like, no! That's the feeling you just felt. Whatever that sensation of good and hope that was in you has been ripped away from you. You've made it out of the window, but you can see as you kind of like scramble back up, blinking blearily and kind of regaining control of your body, though the muscle still kind of, your synapses kind of fire and your muscles kind of continuously seize over and over again. You see that this knight has turned on a heel and is walking out towards the door. You being the only one towards the front of the building, you also hear, "Ah!" What you can only assume to be that drunkard. Whatever. He made that noise. You discern whatever you want from that. But you are out of the building, out of view of the reconciliator. Where do you go?
Head for the nearest corner of the building to get out of line of sight as quickly as possible.
So you head towards the back of the building, and the camera cuts back inside through the chaos, loud chattering and murmurs. Did you see that? He threw a table. What did he do? As the camera kind of peels in through the kitchen. Korax, Seydlitz, you hear as a table smashes against the wall. A few seconds later, you see Stephanie and Dreschen run in, wild-eyed and terrified, look at you, and they say, "He sacrificed himself! Go!" And you see in the center of the kitchen, where there would have been like a drain hole, basically, the tile has been ripped up, and there is a tunnel that leads down.
Korax will look at them. Where is Mina? Where is he gone?
He sacrificed himself. Go. We have to go.
Is he dead?
He threw a table at a reconciliator. I don't know.
Korax would look to Seydlitz. Where are we going? What's the direction?
I don't like leaving people behind.
Pick the direction. I'm going back for Mina. I need to know where to go.
You three, in the hole, go. Me and Korax will take care of this.
You see them slide into this slimy hole and pull the tile back down.
Korax will then run back into the building and stop by the window and stare out to see where Mina is going or has gone.
So as oh, go ahead.
I have a question. How many alcohol bottles are in this room right now?
I mean, it's a bar, so, but I mean, most of it's beer.
As long as it's alcohol, it works.
I mean, you can't light beer.
Is there anything I can? Oh, you
can light spirits on fire. You need grain alcohol for some fire. But so before you try to light the beer buckets on fire, Korax, you kind of come out of the kitchen. You come out of the kitchen doors, and you see the scene of chaos. A table shattered along the wall, and you see the back half of a reconciliator headed out the door. You don't see Mina. You don't see a corpse. You do see an equally shattered window leading towards the side of the building.
I'm assuming people are shouting about, he jumped.
Yeah, there's a lot of murmur through a table. You see that? He's running from the, it's hard to discern exactly what happened, but there are a lot of things flying around the air of what just happened.
He would make his way towards the window
Mm-hmm.
and have a look out to see Mina.
Okay. Seydlitz, you follow Korax into the room. You quickly assess, having a plan already in mind. You see that there are several wall-mounted casks of ale. However, you do see that underneath the bar, there are 3 bottles of spirits. They are unlabeled, unidentified, but you can see that they are in a glass bottle. You see a clear, opaque brown liquid in there, which you can assume to be some kind of spirit. And if you were to pop the cork off, it would smell like a spirit.
I'm gonna take those spirit bottles.
Mhm.
I'm gonna put one in my bag.
Yep.
And I'm gonna take 2. I'm gonna find a rag and stuff them in there, shake it,
Yep.
and try to light this thing.
Yeah, so as Korax is making his way across the room, you kind of uncork the bottle, you're stuffing a rag in there, shaking these things around to get them nice and wet. The rags were fairly wet already with bar swill, so it's not too long before it absorbs up there. As you begin to kind of come around the bar, Korax, you get there. You also hear simultaneously with Mina moving, you hear, "Ah!" which you can assume is someone getting probably stabbed from outside in the front of the building. And as do you peek your head out to look? How are you looking out of this window?
He's looking out of the window because he's
Yeah.
trying to spot
Yeah.
Mina and see if he's in trouble at that.
Cool. Roll me an intelligence difficulty 3, and if you have any kind of searching based things.
Scan?
Ooh, okay. So scan is an ability that lets you.
Including all options.
It lets you scan creatures and reveal. You know what? I will allow that. You won't even have to roll. You can spend your 2 intellect points to cast scan.
I have an edge of 2, so it's free.
Perfect. You can cast that for free. As you kind of peek your head out, describe to us what scan looks like for you.
So for scan, for Korax, whatever he's looking for, the object of his thoughts, the thing that he's after, in this case, Mina, that object generally starts to have a glow. So in a darker city, with Corso being red, his color is generally blue.
Mm-hmm.
And that object he's looking for would have a blue glowing outline for him, that whatever he is searching for in that case.
Yeah. And what does it look like as you cast this ability?
I think for him it's natural. It's not something that he thinks about.
Okay.
It's not like a lot of his spells are very thought-provoking. It's requests to the gods. It's one of those ones that is just natural. It's when he starts to really search for something, it just happens. It's one of those ones he doesn't know how it works.
Yeah, perfect. So you get there, one hand on the jam, one hand on the sill. You kind of lean your head out, and you're thinking, where is Mina? And you look, and it's like there's a blink. And it's almost as if like this blue kind of pulse boom, kind of goes out. And you see like the pulse kind of moves and you see several different things change to that kind of bluish hue. But you can see at the edge of the far edge of the building, as if heading around back, you can see the corner of the building in blue and you see boom, a pulse of a person outlined in blue. You can't identify that it is Mina, but you've used this a time or two before and you're fairly confident that's what you're looking for. Mina, or this person lined in blue, is behind the building, moving at a fast pace. You can see that as it like pulses, you can see like it's in a running stance.
And is that towards the back behind
It
the
is
bar?
it's behind the kitchen.
In which case then he would pull himself towards the door side.
Yep. Towards the front door side?
Towards the front door side of that window and just sit against that window, so that if anyone was looking back towards the bar, they wouldn't see him.
Okay.
And he would just wait a minute or two, watching Seydlitz, and sort of points towards the back door.
Okay. So, Seydlitz, you see this. You see him like flatten himself against the wall. You have 2 makeshift incendiaries in your hand. You see him point towards the kitchen. As soon as you see the point, you see quickly flash by the window an ivory white something move in the direction of the back of the building. What do you do, Seydlitz?
Well, I'm gonna run to the back of it. I'm gonna roll my fleet of foot ability so I can move and take an action in the same round.
Okay.
So I need to roll you as speed difficulty 2.
Okay.
I misclicked that.
It's all good. Okay, you succeed. You're able to move and attack, or move and action.
I'm gonna run out the kitchen, find the back door. I'm gonna kick it open, and look around for Mina. Do I see him?
Yeah, so you sprint, you kind of like leap over, you like, cool action scene, you like slide across a table, there's like a cleaver there, kind of like ding, 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 falls to the side, you land, boot the back door, swings open, and as soon as it swings open, had it been a second later, it would have slapped Mina in the face, and as soon as you put your head out, boom, Mina is standing there in the doorway.
I'm going to grab him and pull him in, and then I'm going to toss this Molotov right out the door behind
Okay.
us.
Yeah, Mina, you see the door swing open. An arm comes around, just sort of grabs you by the scruff of your shirt, and just sort of rips you into the room. And you see with the other hand launch. You hear this like gluk 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 over your head as something gets thrown in the direction you just ran from. Seydlitz, you don't even really look where you throw. You just sort of throw in the direction that Mina came from. The two of you both hear of this flame happen as the door slams back closed because of physics. That happens. Corax, you don't hear anything until you hear this fire, this incendiary noise through the window. No accompanying scream of I'm on fire or anything of the kind. Maybe they don't scream. I don't know. You've never fought a reconciliator, so who knows? You do hear a smash and fire and a slam from inside the kitchen. What are you doing?
He would have seen the reconciliator run past the window
Yeah.
in Mina's direction. He would then run back towards the back door. And as he's going, he would just grab random tables and just pull them down behind him.
Yeah.
To sort of just cause a bit of a commotion in the bar.
Action scene, chairs, tables. You hit the kitchen, and at the speed you're going, and you being you hit that greasy floor and sort of skid into the kitchen. And you see the door swing closed, and you see Mina is still like being grabbed by Seydlitz into the room, and Seydlitz in his other hand is holding a second incendiary device.
Corax would pull off his cloak, wrap it up in his arms, and then just jump down the hole in the middle of the room. You just look to Mina and go, "Time to go," and just jumps down the hole with his cloak wrapped tightly around his chest.
Mina, this has been a fast and furious few seconds here. You haven't had a lot of time to figure out what the hell's going on, but you do see a streak of brown and red whoop, into a hole in the middle of the kitchen. What are you doing?
He looks at Seydlitz, says, "Thanks, old man. Time to go down the hole."
No talk. Get in the hole.
You kind of slide again across this greasy, fish-laden floor, and whoop into the hole. Seydlitz, you are the last one up here. What are you doing?
I'm going to run to the hole, but I'm going to try to stop myself. Like, is there a ladder there
No.
in the hole?
No.
Oh, it's just a hole?
It's just a hole.
I'm going to do my best to get in the hole and do my best to grab the tile and at least try to drag it over and try to cover it up.
Okay. The tile is hinged, so you can sort of rank it down like a trap door, basically. Do you also slide in with a Molotov cocktail in your hand, or do you leave
stow that away.
Okay, perfect.
Stow it away.
Interesting. You'll have to tell me how you stow a Molotov cocktail later, but we'll figure that out whether or not you're on fire.
I haven't lit it yet, so it's not burning.
That's fair. It is still just loose alcohol, with only a rag to stop it from spilling. So you get across there, you get down there, you grab what makes for the small handle inside, this little lip where you can put your hand in, and slam the tile down as you swoop down this hole. All of you drop about 10 feet. And you have a rather unpleasantly squishy landing, we'll call it. However, you don't roll an ankle, break a foot, or anything like that. You squish down there. It is dark down here. There is no source of light, but you swoop down the end of this drain pipe, essentially, this human-sized drain pipe, and you can feel that the tunnel opens up in front of you, and somebody who's good with directions, roll me a difficulty 3 intelligence directions.
Well, I'm trained in navigation, so.
Perfect. So roll me a difficulty 3, and your navigation applies to that.
While he rolls that, Mike,
Yeah.
Corax is going to cast his ability Resonance field, which causes faint lines of color to trace over his body to emit a very faint light.
Okay, yeah.
Mind if I think I just have to roll navigation.
Yeah, just click on the navigation skill. Should be a dice, a D20 looking symbol right next to the left of your navigation skill.
I see it. Difficulty 3.
Right. Perfect. You cast Resonance Field.
Crap.
And describe to me what your Resonance Field looks like.
So his resonance field starts off at his hands. It's again a prayer, a request for help. And as he starts to walk, his hands start to have a very faint glow, eventually with almost like lightning tracing across his skin, starting at his hands, working its way out until eventually his whole body is just covered in a light rather than these thin traces, and eventually he works up towards that.
Okay, perfect. You are traced in faint light. It sort of does that cycle, as if like moving. So it starts with your hands, and you sort of see this, and then a second it fades to like darkness again. Then, so every second or so, there's a very faint trace of light kind of around you. Not enough to light your way, unfortunately, but enough that like no one in the tunnel right now could lose you. You're visible enough that everyone would know where you are. You feel that the tunnel kind of goes forward as the first person kind of down here. You can feel that it goes forward, and as you kind of walk that way, you kind of moving your hands along this slimy tunnel. You feel it breaks again to a T-junction, and there's a path to the right and a path to the left, essentially. And as you kind of like feel out in front of you, your hand bumps something warm and like fabricy. What is? Hello, and you hear Dreshen.
Ah, good. Where is... Insert lady's name here.
I'm right here. I'm here. And you feel like a hand, like patting where your arm is, like trying to find.
All right, stay close. We may have lost them. Unlikely. And he would wait for the others to join his little glowing circle.
Yeah, it's only a few seconds later before you hear another and then another as the other two land. And you two, as you're kind of in this tunnel, you can see at the end of it there is this glowing outline and what you can see Corax.
Mia will reach into his adventurer's pack, pull out a torch, and light it up.
Yeah. So you are in a small tunnel. This is probably an old sewer, you'd have to guess, or some kind of drainage ditch pipe situation. You can tell that half of the construction is very old, and another half of the construction is probably like maybe within the last 10 to 15 years old, as if this was added on, perhaps by a half-fish person. Who knows? But you see that it goes down to where Corax is, and then splits to a T-junction, one heading in one direction and one heading in the opposite direction. There you see Stephanie is holding the child. The child has something in their mouth, but whatever it is keeping them quiet. And you see Dreshen is there as well.
Corax looks to Persephone and says, "You need to stay right next to me. Do not take a step away. You hold on and keep that child as close to me as you can, as he will cast another spell. Blessings of the Gods, Protection Silence. You create a quiet bubble of protection around you and an immediate radius for 1 minute. The very, very last bit is sounds louder than a normal... no sound louder than the normal speaking voice will leave the bubble."
Okay.
And that costs...
What does this look like?
He's cast this before. So he did this when he was trying to protect Mina before. So they would have missed it then. It emits out of him like a soap bubble with a faint blue line that sits just off of him by about a few feet away. And it's got a blue shimmer to it as it sort of moves around him. So any light that Mina's torch does just reflects off the edge of that bubble.
Yeah, you guys see that same pulse that was going around Korax, like boom, and you see it actually extend around Stephanie and the child. And then as it makes its way back around, there is that shimmer. There's like this weird glint, as if they are, have like an oil slick on them that's glimmering off of your torchlight. You see that. Mina, Seydlitz, what are you doing?
Mina will turn to Seydlitz and say, take point, I'll bring up the rear. And can I borrow that Molotov you had?
Oh, sure. I'll hand it off to him. And I'll go take point, which is not a good idea since I rolled a 2 on my navigation.
So, that 2, and you taking point, bears the question. Do you go left, or do you go right?
The way I rolled a 2 on my navigation, I'm assuming my character's a bit lost.
Mm-hmm.
I have another skill.
So here's you're not lost. You just don't know, right? You just jumped into a hole. So that was like a roll to like, okay, I feel like this is towards this direction of the city, and this is towards this direction. You're disoriented, so you have no idea which direction this tunnel leads.
I'm gonna ask, which way do y'all think the captain went?
Probably towards the docks. I mean, that would be the obvious place to get out of here. So whichever way the docks are.
Do we see any tracks in this swill?
You do not. There is a low, probably like 2-inch deep, not quite ankle, but like halfway up your boot of water.
Does it appear to be flowing in a direction?
Good question. It does. It appears to be flowing towards the right.
I'm guessing it's flowing towards an outlet, so we head to the direction it's flowing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna take to the right.
Okay. So a few minutes of trepidatious travel, a torch coming from the rear, a torch and a Molotov in one hand. Mina kind of lights the path as Seydlitz kind of marches you towards a direction. Not really needing to see exactly where you're going. Your hands are kind of on the wall, checking for other tunnels or hallways off of this thing. There don't seem to be any as you kind of slosh collectively through. And Korax, your bubble of silence is able to somewhat dampen the sloshing noises, at least from those immediately around you, Mina being the loudest in the rear. As you guys travel for a good, what feels like maybe 10 or so minutes, hands on the walls, shuffle stepping so you don't trip over something. And after those 10 minutes, you see a dim glimmer of light towards the direction you're going in, as if perhaps there is some sort of light source in that direction. Do you continue? Change up the path? What do you do?
I mean, Seydlitz is in the front, so he's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Hold here a second, guys. I'm gonna go check that out.
Okay. So you slink off on your own into the darkness towards this glimmering light. Takes you only a minute or so to get up there, trying to move as quickly and as quietly as you possibly can. And you see that there is this tunnel, this pipe essentially extends and ends in a wrought iron gate, essentially. And what you see before you is you see water. Just a vast expanse of water. And if you kind of keen your head to the sides, you see that there are 2 large wooden posts about 2 feet in either direction, and then another about 5 feet in front of that, 2 more posts and another one. And if you kind of like crouch down and look up, you can see the shadowy underside, the barnacled underside of what makes for a dock above you.
Okay. I'm gonna try to kick open this wrought iron gate. Or is it unlocked, or what's going on?
Do you
here?
kick it open, or do you try to push it open first? You tell me.
I'm gonna try to push it open.
Yeah, so you cut it. It opens.
Okay. I'm gonna, if they can see me, I'm gonna wave back and say like signal them to come on and follow.
Yeah, Corax, I think you being probably the second in line, I would imagine you kind of see this like silhouette motion in a wave, kind of silhouetted by the whatever light's coming from outside, kind of beckoning you forward.
He would look back to Mina. I think we're out. Time to go.
Let's go. Nothing to wait for in here.
Okay. You all kind of slosh down this tunnel. You make your way to the entrance, or the exit rather. There is a opened wrought iron gate in Seydlitz. What are you doing? What's your escape plan here?
Do I see any boats?
Yeah, you can see to your left, several, yards, meters, whatever. Far out, you can see that the keel of two boats on either side of you. But again, these are like, you'd have to swim to get to them.
Right. So above me is the dock, so I'm gonna climb up.
Above
to the
you
dock.
above you is a dock. You are as you kind of pull yourself out and kind of hang on the edge of this pipe and look around. There's basically a seawall. This pipe comes out of the seawall and is over water. There's no ground here. There's no walk up anywhere. This seems like a drain that dumps into the ocean. So you'd have to figure out a way to either swim or safely climb up and up the seawall.
I'm going to attempt to climb the seawall.
Okay. Do you have any tools that might help you climb the seawall?
No, I don't think so. Let me check.
Okay.
I have rope.
Okay.
But that's.
Do you have any kind? Does anyone have any kind of spikes or?
I have rope, 3 spikes, and a hammer.
Okay, perfect. So you kind of rummage through your bag. You kind of loop the rope over your shoulder. You grab the 3 spikes, maybe pop them like nails in your mouth, and just kind of hold on to them. And you got that hammer ready. And you are going to try to leave here, knock this rope into the seawall so that everyone else can climb up the top of this. I will need, I'm going to say a speed roll. This seems more finesse than brute forcing to me. I will say, looking at your sheet, I feel like travel skills, albeit a vague skill to have, I feel like that applies here.
Well, that's an intelligence roll then.
It is. I will let it apply anyway.
Right. I'm going to apply effort.
Okay. So just minus that from your speed pool.
Speed?
Mhm.
Since what's the difficulty?
The skills can be flexible. The difficulty of this would be difficulty 4. Perfect. Okay, yeah, so you are able to pull yourself up and over and out, very nimble and agile for a man of your advanced years, as you pull yourself up out of the pipe, across the pipe, and then you tink, 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 you tap these spikes, these pythons, into the seawall, and you're able to sort of loop the rope down and allow people to climb up. I will need a might difficulty 3 check from whoever is attempting to help Stephanie with this climb. I will allow one of you to help to reduce that.
Well, when Seydlitz started climbing, Corax would have shouted to him, "When you get up there, can you get us a small boat?" She's just given birth and has a newborn baby.
It's true.
I don't want to get wet.
She is up and about pretty quickly for someone who just had a baby. Okay, so say that you hear that shout. Can you get us a small boat?
Well, as soon as I'm up there, I've already set everything up. I'll see if I see any, sitting extra lifeboat sitting around somewhere, or just a small dinghy.
Yeah. Here's a GM intrusion, Seydlitz.
Oh dear.
GM intrusions, as a reminder, I'm going to say some nonsense to you. You can either say, yes, I would like that nonsense to happen, and you get an XP. Or you can spend an XP and say, no, I do not want that nonsense to happen. No, thank you. If you do not have XP, tough titty. It happens. You do have 1 XP to spend. You pull yourself up. You're able to get out of the hole, mount these pythons, and set up a sort of rope system. And you're able to hear this request and slide up onto the dock in a way that does not get you immediately spotted. You see a small dinghy. However, you also see, coming towards the docks, is one reconciliator with a slightly darker, maybe red, sword in hand, and another reconciliator that is a little bit more sooty. The GM intrusion is, you can get this boat, they will see you.
I let it happen.
Okay, you get a free XP. So you see the boat. It is tied to the same dock that you are on as of right now. And you would be able to swing this thing around to where you kind of pulled yourself up. They would still have to climb out of the hole, but they would climb out of the hole. Actually, that's not how physics works. I made that entirely thing up. You can see the dinghy. It is actually 2 docks over. So you have to run over there and bring it to where you are now. And they would pull out of the pipe and into this dinghy here. So is that what you're trying to do?
I'm basically trying to throw it into the water in front of the pipe where they can get into it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So you run up there. As soon as you crest the top of the landfall where this dinghy is upended, you hear that same tone of voice from inside the Karek, and you see this beast of a reconciliator in the soot-covered armor pointing towards you. And the 2 of them break into a full stride, their armor clanking as they move. Roll me a might check, strength-based, throwing boat into water. I don't know if you have a skill for that, but
I don't think there's a skill for that.
It will be a difficulty 3 to quickly drag this boat to water. Hot damn. You grab this thing, you grab the rope, you rip this thing. As you rip it forward, it sort of skids and then flips over on the keel. And it begins to slide like a sled. You hear it you're able to jump into this thing, and it hits the seawall and hits the water, takes on a little bit, is splashing, and Korax, you can see this thing hit the water a mere 3 feet from where you are, waves sort of tumultuously in this thing, and you see Seydlitz is hanging onto both sides of this little dinghy.
Hurry up, we gotta go.
He would pass his cloak to Stephanie, jump into, because it's 3 feet away, so it's a bit of a jump.
I mean, you can row it over to the thing, so you have to just drop into it.
So he's going to jump over, take the risk of falling in the water, giving her his cloak, and bring it right up next to it so she can just drop straight down.
You're able to propel yourself out using the pipe. You kind of throw yourself towards it. Boom! More waves, more chop as you quickly grab onto what makes for the oars in this thing towards this thing, and are quickly able to stop it. So that she can drop out of this thing. You hear shouting above you, "They're in the water! Get them! Platoon 2! Rev around!" And you hear these commands being issued. You hear this weird electrical crackle in the air, and your hair stands on end. She drops down to the boat. Obviously, you help her down, but she drops down. Mina and Dreshen sort of help lower her down into the boat. Dreshen follows suit. That's okay. Dreshen follows suit and sort of lets himself down. Mina, you are the last one. Torch and Molotov in hand. The boat still in a bit of chop. You hear this commotion coming from above. What do you do, Mina, before you jump into the boat?
Mina will light the Molotov.
Yeah.
And try to propel it towards the dock, the nearest, and set it on fire.
Okay. Yeah, so you grab the exterior top of the pipe. You sort of lean yourself out of there. You, with your own torch, whoosh, you get the end of this thing, and you just arc this thing over the top of the pipe. I need you to roll me Might difficulty 3. One. Okay, so you throw this thing, it hits the underside of the dock, and you see a few like droplets of fire sort of rain down on the top of the pipe, but you see the bottom sort of catch, and you see what little algae has dried there is and like sparking, and then you see the flames lick through the slats of the board. And you hear another water coming from what you assume to be dock workers there. More commands issued from above. Get the boats! Get the boats! And you see another about 20 feet to your right, another boat slide down, and you see a scrambling booted foot kind of going down the seawall into that little dinghy. You're able to pull yourself out, jump down to that boat, more chop. What are you guys doing? You're in a boat in the docks of the City of Night.
Korax is helping Stephanie to get towards the front of the boat.
Yeah.
He then puts his cloak back on, covers up his hair. And he's basically trying to make sure that he is not the person in the rowing seat, because he is a weed.
Perfect. I assume, I feel like Mina is the one that takes that spot.
Yeah. Mina will put his shield in some form defensive spot on the boat, and then just get into the rowing seat and just be beating those oars.
Perfect. Is anyone from around here? No?
No.
Okay. Korax, you've spent the most time here, though, right?
Korax has been in the city for about a month, 2 months.
Okay. So you know a general lay of the land. You know that if you go either east or west, you can make landfall eventually in either direction as you're on a coastline. That's how coasts work. However, if you head to the east, eventually, it is a lot of rowing, and it is going to be a pain, you will hit the Dark City, which would have a port. Neither of those directions are the direction of Samara.
Well, we can try and row somewhere, or we can try and get away from this lot. If we can get away from them and get back on land, we might be able to find a ship. But this river's not taking us where we want to go. But I suggest just start rowing like hell. East is probably best. And he would just point towards east, that way.
Mina just
find a ship,
rows in that direction.
Okay. Mina, you begin to row one side, the boat turns, and you begin taking off towards the east. And as you row into the makeshift but proverbial sunset, as there is no sunset here, that is where we end this episode of The Rise, titled Into the Night. Thank you, everyone, for being here. What's that?
Seydlitz takes that third bottle of spirits he had saved and didn't turn him off, so it pops and takes a drink.
Yeah, pass that around. Everyone needs one. That was episode 3 of The Rise. You guys escaped Corso. That was rough. That was a good time. Let's go around, do our introductions, and get the hell out of here so that we can do our after show. And if you guys want access to the after show, it is available on our Patreon, which you can get by joining the link down below. While you're down there, check us out on Discord, be a part of the community, and talk about this show and all the other shows we have. We'll start with Seydlitz. DE, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? And what are you up to?
I'm D, Eldridge, whatever you want to call me. On the internet, you might find me on my YouTube channel. That's one thing. I don't really do shit there, but it's there. And you'll find me in Mike's Discord. And if I ever get it back, I may have Parlor still.
All right. We'll jump right over to Necro. Who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? And what are you up to?
I'm Chris, aka Necro. You can find me in the Discord. Streaming very rarely at the moment, but getting there. But yeah, for the most part, check out the Discord where we talk lots of nonsense.
Hell yeah. And last but not least, Snow, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? And what are you up to?
I'm Norm, or Snowdogs on all the socials. You can generally find me lurking in Discord or Twitter or anything like that, but not saying much.
Perfect. Well, with that, we're going to get out of here. We're going to do an after show. We hope to see you guys over on Patreon. We hope to see you in the Discord. And from all of us to you, we will see you next month with more Rise. From all of us to you guys, bye-bye.